I'm Rick Wright, and this is my story. I grew up in Baltimore City. I was destined to become a Major League Baseball player, but this dream came crashing down in junior high school when they started throwing curveballs. I couldn't hit a curveball. My parents were older, but I had a fabulous sister. She's 5 years older, 4 grades older than I was, and she was in some ways more of a parent in terms of the important parts of growing up than my parents were. But when I went to school, I think I struggled trying to fit in, trying to find my group, trying to find myself, really. And I remember one incident in 5th grade. So you had an option to either take the ubiquitous yellow and black school bus home, or if you were really cool, you'd walk out on this long field and go to the city transit bus. One day in that field in 5th grade, I was approached by 3 older boys, and they were taller. Not only did they surround me, but they towered over me and they demanded money. And so I gave them the $1.35 in my pocket. And then as I was slinking out to the transit bus stop, it occurred to me my coolness didn't matter at all in that moment. And a friend knew that something was wrong and encouraged me to go back and see the police. I got my $1.35 back. I went to a small school, smaller than my high school, and I was accepted at a larger, more prestigious university. It was too scary. Looking back, I couldn't have admitted that when I was 18. In college, sports were my focus, social life was my focus, and my academics didn't really come along until later in life when I went to master's program. After graduating from college, I had the great, unique opportunity to work with Senator John Glenn, and I don't think John Glenn needs any introduction. And I'll give you an example of a story he told me. When you launch a rocket into space, you need enough fuel to get it into orbit, but you don't want to be carrying fuel around in space with you. The interesting piece to me was they later calculated that it was 1.8 seconds of fuel left when he left the atmosphere. They did it that closely. So I was then recruited from that position into the financial world, and I took that newfound sense of what planning and what processes and what working with a great team would be like, and I carried that forward. The major thing that impacted me was not only my experience with John Glenn, but soon after, recruited into the financial world. I was also sent to Johns Hopkins for a master's program, and there were 2 professors there that I recall. They taught me economics, investments, and corporate finance, and they identified 2 trends that were coming at us. The first was that the government was going to continue to grow and grow and grow, and the appetite for income taxes was going to grow with it. The second trend was the cost of corporate pensions, and those corporate pensions were going to become so costly they were going to be eliminated. I had an opportunity early on. I was young, but I got a great break. A lady by the name of Mrs. Whittier accepted my request to talk to her about what I was doing. She invited me in. And I found that she had some holes and gaps and opportunities to upgrade her lifestyle. I went back and put together a plan, and I came back very excited. And I can remember sitting on her back porch, looking out over this beautiful yard, and I explained to her the plan. And she immediately crossed her arms, and I could tell the conversation was over, that this plan was dead on arrival. It took me a long time to figure it out, months, before I realized I'd made 2 critical mistakes. The first is I talked to her in a language she didn't understand. It was technical talk. And the second is I'd never said to her, Mrs. Whittier, what is it that you want? And that put me on a course to create a process, if you will, and led to the book 20 years later, Retire Abundantly. In that, I describe retire abundance as becoming the person you want to be with the people that you want to be with and doing the things you want to do, all the while having a big impact on the people and causes that you care about dearly. Somebody said to me recently, Rick, you have really good judgment. One of the things I value about our relationship is good judgment. And I said, do you know where good judgment comes from? Good judgment comes from experience. And they said, oh, that makes sense, yeah, okay. And I said, do you know where experience comes from? Experience comes from bad judgment. So what I would tell a 20-year-old or my 20-year-old something, I would say, get experience, try, get in the game, take action, fail, learn from it, and then move on. I talked about the book Retire Abundantly and the 4 pillars of abundant retirement, and that those being, I'll repeat those, becoming the person you want to be, being with the people you want to be with, doing the things you want to do, and having a big impact on the people and causes that you care about. And that's my life. That's what I do when I help people. Because if I can find a successful person, a person who's been successful at accumulating wealth, but is not necessarily perfectly positioned to preserve, protect, and pass on that wealth, and they're salt of the earth people, and they think they're okay, but they also have a kind of a 3 o'clock in the morning moment, right, that says, maybe I should. So when they come and they talk to me and we're able to increase or improve their lifestyle and legacy, that makes me happy, and it really makes them happy. The most important thing about the book was during COVID, it kept me sane, but more importantly was seeing it in print and seeing how it has impacted other people when they read it, to say, I hadn't thought about that. The reason taxes are our main focus is it is your largest expense in retirement. Your mortgage is paid off, those other things are paid off. But more importantly, most people's experience with tax preparation is historical, meaning it looks backward. No one's looking forward to say, what is my tax bill going to be in 30 years? And the reason that's important is sometimes we are quietly accumulating a tax bomb. We're growing our company. We're being more active in terms of looking for more clients. More specifically, we're growing the next generation of the company. So as I continue to be the CEO, the strategist, if you will, that we can continue to deliver the highest level services that we can. Just several years ago, I lost a client to cancer, and her sister had not been a client, but was retiring at the same time and became a client, but also helped through the process of processing her client's estate. And it was a very professional relationship, but at the end, she sent me a note. The note was very important, but she went a step further. She sent me quite a large check to say, thank you. You saved me many times more than this check. It was part of her note. That's a priceless feeling for me.